Hey, it's Adam Lavelle, the wrestling snob from the Noah Network, WrestlingDoneRight.com. You can go to that website and follow me at all my socials, read a little biography about who I am, what I'm about when it comes to professional wrestling. I'm here to look at episode 2 of Pro Wrestling Noah's Monday Magic. If you've checked out my YouTube channel, which this video is going to be on, my TikTok channel, which this video is going to be on, you'll know that I absolutely loved that show. Monday Magic episode 1 from October 20th, I gave it 10 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. It was an awesome Puresso show. Great stuff. Episode 2, I turned off less than halfway through it. But let's discuss it here. I got the breakdown. I've watched some of it. I've watched some clips, and I've looked at Cage Match, and that's what we're looking at here. Let's discuss this show. I did watch the opening match. Great Sakuya and Heian took on Jesse Jackson and Sadie Gibbs in a very solid, I have a video up about it on my YouTube, opening matchup. It didn't blow me away. It wasn't incredibly impressive. I like Sakuya. I like the idea of her being Muta's granddaughter as a major, big-time, incredible Mark fan of Great Muta. I love this idea. I think this young lady looks great, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her matches. She wanted here using the mist in the moonsault, so that made me like this match in and of itself. And it's nice to see Sadie Gibbs back. She looked better than she looked when she was in AEW, for sure. Then I watched the next match, an 8-man match. Instantly, that's not my favorite. It's with the referee. There's 9 people in there. The referee always ends up getting buried in these matches. They always wind up being a little bit silly, a little bit over the top. But this match, it wasn't bad in regard to how the wrestlers performed. All these wrestlers are great. It was Anthony Green, Dragon Bane, Titus Alexander, and Vinny Massaro taking on Alpha Wolf, Jack, never saw this guy before, JAC, LJ Cleary, and Starboy Charlie. This looked like this was produced by AEW, one of their producers. Pick whichever one. Tony Khan and his company. It just, for this style of match, it was fine. I don't like this style of match. This is not what I watch Pro Wrestling Noah for. If I wanted to see wrestling like this, I would be a fan and continually watch AEW. I do not, and am not, and will not. So this match did nothing for me. Did nothing for me. I'm not going to call it a bad match. I'm going to call it a very Western AEW style match. So turn me off. Now, that's pretty much where I stopped watching. I was frustrated. I know what's also coming at the end of this, or near the end of this match, and it's had me disgusted. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's take a look at the next match. It was Hayata taking on Shuhei Taniguchi and defeating him in less than a minute and a half. I like Hayata. I've nothing against Hayata getting a big, easy win. I'm not a huge fan of Shuhei Taniguchi. I think he's fine, but it's clear Noah has no idea what they didn't want to do with him. From the Funky Express to the monster wearing the mask he used to play, I can't remember what he went by then, to now whatever this is, trying to lose weight to get into the junior division, blaming that weight loss on losing this match the way that he did. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not anything I find real interesting at all. And then we had the Lucha de Muerte match. This was hair versus mask, and that is Junta Miyawaki and Yu Owada. Love that team. I especially like Yu Owada. I've said that numerous times. Taking on All Rebellions, Alejandro and Cristobal. Now, Alejandro and Cristobal go down here. That means they have to take their masks off, right? Wrong. That means they have to face off one-on-one, and the loser of that match has to take their mask off. So that's a little weird. I understand not unmasking Alejandro. He's over. He's big time over. He's gotten more over recently. So I don't really have a problem with that. I was actually shocked they lost, even though Miyawaki's on a hot streak and definitely headed towards a junior title shot. So I get that. This match was less than 6 minutes. So, hey, you don't got to sit here and watch this for, 10, 12, 14, 18 minutes or something. It was less than a 6-minute match. So I'm kind of okay with that. Cristobal, I don't love the gimmick, but I didn't really find it to be a comedy gimmick. I found it that he's a little silly, but it seems like he sort of like, he like taunts people and flaps his arms around like wings. A little silly, but I didn't find it overly comedic. It was enough that I could handle it, right? So then we get the mask versus mask match, which was the teammates of All Rebellion, Alejandro and Cristobal, facing each other again, with the loser having to absolutely remove their mask, okay? This also was about a 6-minute match, 6 minutes and 23 seconds. And Alejandro wins. Of course he does. Alejandro's worlds better than Cristobal. That's just a fact. He shows it here. He wins it here. Cristobal has to unmask. Interesting. Who's this going to be? This is where it goes to shit. All right, for me. This is why I struggled to even turn this show on. I got through the first match, which was decent. The second match looked like I was watching AEW. I lost interest. I just lost interest because I knew this was coming. This match here. Alejandro defeating Cristobal. I'm not upset at the match. I'm not upset at the result. I'm upset that when Cristobal removes his masks, it gets dark, so we don't get to see what he looks like. Whatever. I don't really care about that. And when the lights come back up, it's Black Menzo Ray. God help me. Look, Black Menzo Ray is a comedy character who was in All Japan for quite a while. And I used to watch All Japan when he was there, and I still have nothing against All Japan. I subscribe to their network, and I watch it when I can. They're a decent company, all right? I like Noah better, but I think All Japan's decent. But this guy, I mean, there have been worse comedy characters. Please don't misunderstand me. It could be even worse. But I don't get this guy. He wears like a bowl of noodles on his head, and I know it's a Japanese thing. I don't know, black mask with like a bowl of noodles on his head. Not a real bowl of noodles, like a part of his mask, right? And he's just a goof. He's just really, really silly. He's absolutely a over-the-top comedy character that I have no interest in seeing. I think it appears that since Cristobal doesn't exist anymore, that he's out of the All Rebellion unit faction, which is a good thing. Having Black Menzo Ray in All Rebellion would completely tarnish All Rebellion as a cool, badass faction and unit. So it looks like he's out of it. And he talked about coming back to Noah. He will be back. And no, well, we can't wait to see that. I will probably skip most of his matches. I will see. If he wrestles Keno and somebody I really like, maybe. But I'm going to struggle with this, guys. It's what's keeping me from watching this, because I know this didn't lead to anything. It really didn't. The last match sounds good. Maybe I'll go back and check that out. But we got Black Menzo Ray coming back to Noah. Yippee. Then we had a 6-man match. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Galeno Damal, and Goji Ozaki took on Kaito Kiyomiya, Manabu Soya, and Suji Ishikawa. That sounds like it could be a decent match. Maybe I'll go back and watch the last 2 matches of this show and do my video review of the last 2 matches, because they sound good. Dr. Wagner, his brother Galeno Damal, and Shiozaki win that matchup. Again, that was about a 16-minute match, so we're back to normal times here. Sounds good. And the singles match main event was Ulka Sasaki, who I'm a big fan of, taking on the returning Masaki Mochizuki. In a 14-minute match, Ulka Sasaki wins it, building his way up to facing Shinsuke Nakamura on the New Year's show coming up in January. That sounds like a good match, too. So here we go. Looking at this, the first match was decent. Second match wasn't a bad match, but wasn't for me. Third match, less than 2 minutes. Fourth match, the Cristobal, leading to the reveal of Black Menzo Ray, 2 matches in a row that led to that. Talk about a non-reward for waiting through that angle. And the last 2 matches, the 6-man and the Ulka Sasaki Mochizuki match, sound great. So I'll probably go back and watch those 2, maybe tonight, but probably tomorrow. And then there is a Sunny Voyage show that will be on Wrestle Universe tomorrow as well. So that's my thoughts. I'm not going to grade this because I didn't watch the whole thing. The first match and the last 2 matches together, even if I would consider them amazing, and the first match was just decent, I probably wouldn't give this much more than a 6 out of 10. It's not a must-see show at all. I don't see anything on here that's must-see. I could be wrong, and I will correct myself because I'm going to watch those last 2 matches. And if they're so good that it changes my mind about that show, I'll apologize in a minute. But I don't think that'll happen. It's just, come on, if you're Nosawa, if you're going to lead us through a story like a hair versus mask match, and the big reveal at the end of that's Black Menzo Ray, that's a pretty big letdown, my brother. I'm not saying this has to be WrestleMania level of incredibleness and revelation, but you got to give us something better than that. What a disappointment after that first Monday Magic show. Here's hoping episode 3, which will give us the first GHC Women's Champion. That's a big deal. is really good, really great, and kicks off a women's division that is deserving of the GHC Pro Wrestling Noah label. Let's hope that happens. I expect to see some Marigold ladies in there, some Marvelous ladies in there. And I'm hoping, and it's a battle royal. I'm not thrilled with that being how you're going to crown a champion, but it's been done before in bigger companies, so I can live with that. But overall, I was really disappointed in this show. Not a hideous show, just a letdown show for sure. But I wanted to put it out there and talk about it a little bit, at least before I end my evening. I'm Adam Lavelle, the Wrestling Snob, WrestlingDoneRight.com, home of the Noah Network and the IIWC, the intelligent internet wrestling community, because anybody that loves and follows Pro Wrestling Noah is absolutely intelligent, at least in regard to professional wrestling. And I'm glad to have you on board. Please follow me on TikTok. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll be back again before you know it.